What makes an AI native PM?
I think there was a term floating around for a while that I think was on the right track. I'll say think in prompts is kind of this like fundamental thing that sounded silly at the time, but when you start doing this day to day and you're actually integrating tools, I think it's how you end up working, right? Like, what is the thing I need to get done? What is the best way to do that thing? And if you're thinking about AI as like an extension of yourself, you're thinking like, what are the instructions? What are the steps? And if you're reflective, like you probably do that to yourself at some level anyway. You have your inner dialogue, right? But I think that's the biggest thing is the AI native PMs are actually working from what do I need to do to what are the steps that I need to get done to what are the best tools to get me those things. And they're pushing themselves beyond that mental block that's like, oh, that's too technical. Oh, that sounds too hard. Oh, I'm not sure how to go about doing that. And they're working their way up to that, even if the things may be outside their comfort level.
So can you show us what the best operating systems really look like?
Yeah, I mean, it should be a pretty familiar view for most people who are playing with AI right now, for example. So let me bring up my screen. We're going to jump around to some different tools. But the first thing we worked on together is kind of this map, right? That I think takes this idea, and the more I thought about it, the more it was kind of obvious to me that it's not necessarily a set of strict tools, right? And that's why you mentioned operating system. We're actually operating with a layer of abstraction from UI, like logging into 20 different tools for a bunch of different tasks throughout the day is a bunch of time wasting that kind of happens that people aren't going to have a lot of patience for. So what I see more and more people doing, especially a lot of the thought leaders who are kind of teaching and educating others in our space right now, you have your kind of centralized tools like Claude Desktop or Cursor, and you're connecting those to everything else. You're either bringing things into it, like context, data, whatever else, or in some cases, you're having it interact with the other tools that you maybe use, like a JIRA or a GitHub. So maybe I'm working on a PRD and I'm not sure if something got completed or if something actually shipped or if that was in the backlog. Instead of opening a tab and checking JIRA or looking through the PRs, I can actually say, hey, can you check and see if this issue on this project was completed? I think it was, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. Or, hey, I know there was a PR waiting for this. Did that ever get pushed? We've been waiting for a bug fix in prod or something. I don't have to leave the tool that I'm in right now to get an answer for that, which is nice. I can just kind of stay in my flow state without changing the UI for anything, which is pretty cool. There's other things that I think happen outside of the OS, right? Like maybe some design concepts or brainstorming. Like I'll use tools for research. And we were talking earlier about not all the research you get right away is something you want to bring into your actual project. So there's maybe an intentional layer of abstraction. But most of the work I'm doing is happening in this middle area where between either Cursor or Claude Desktop.
Awesome. Can you demo for us how this all gets put together?
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with like a really simple, more technical task. So if you're not familiar with Cursor, there's kind of three areas to this. This is collapsed right now, but this is the Cursor agent. You can kind of see conversations I've had about how to troubleshoot or different things that were happening in the past. You can collapse that down. This middle area, you have two things, which is your file that you're editing or looking at, which you don't actually even have to have up. Most of the time I don't. I have cursor setting, which is telling me I have some kind of MCP configuration errors, and we'll talk about this. And then down here is terminal, where I use to interact with Claude Code. The left side is your file search. So again, I don't really actually use the IDE like most developers would for the files. I'm using Cursor to connect tools to either the agent that I showed on the right side, or I'm strictly using the terminal inside Cursor so that I can navigate between files and interact with Claude Code. So for example, this was a case where some of the content for all the wedding planning tasks and our thing was in a spreadsheet and it was driving me crazy.
This episode is brought to you by Linear. You know what's broken about product development right now? It's not the coding. We've got AI agents for that. It's everything else. The planning, the feedback synthesis, the endless context switching between tools. You're drowning in PM busy work while the actual product work suffers. Linear started as that issue tracker that engineers actually want to use, which, let's be honest, is pretty rare, but it's evolved into something way more powerful. Your entire product Development Hub. Their new AI features are a game changer for PMs. Product intelligence automatically surfaces insights from customer feedback and support tickets. No more manually combing through hundreds of reports and tickets. And their AI agents will help draft PRDs, scope projects, and handle all those status updates nobody wants to take care of. Product teams from OpenAI to Vercel use Linear to build complex products at speed. There's a reason they call it magical. See for yourself at linear.app/Akash. That's LINEARAPP/AAKASH. I hope you enjoyed that short clip. You can check out the full episode here.